All right, everybody, we are live. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru, and I have the brother Kala Genesis on with us once again. And this is gonna be part two of a discussion we had about 3 or 4 days ago in regards to land, infrastructure, and nationhood equals freedom, justice, and civilization, part two. So what we're gonna do is pick up from where we left off last time, and the brother Kala Genesis is gonna build on just what we've been discussing, what we discussed a couple of days ago. So, Brother Kala Genesis, go ahead. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
Oh, okay, man.
I want to start with that. Thanks for the people for listening to us. Thanks for the people who went to the BAO social network and signed up and getting excited about this, because this is the only movement. This is the only organization movement that depends solely on the successors movement. Has nothing to do with white supremacy, has nothing to do with who's in government, has nothing to do with who's in Congress, who's president. All that does not matter. The success of a nationalist movement, when you decide to become a nationalist, you're taking matters into your own hand. The success of the nationalist movement is simply convincing Black people, and so they have the confidence and the ability to believe that yes, this is possible. Once that happens, it's unstoppable. The white race and Negroes, and I want to show a picture. Hold up. 1 second. We're going to get right to this picture. I'm going to cut right to this picture. So this illustrates exactly what I'm talking about. All right, I got so many pictures up here, I can't even. All right. I can't even see. The only thing holding us back is us. All right. If you see this picture right here, this gives you a perfect illustration of what we're talking about. See the Negro hugging the white man's leg right here that's your Black leadership. That's your we can't do nothing without the white man. And the white man's telling you, get off my leg, go someplace, move, build your own everything. This is we can do it right here in America. This is the Captain American Negro. This is the no, y'all wasting your time and all this stuff like that. African American ain't African. We're Native American. We're anything but basically saying that if we really wanted a chance, we should build a nation for ourselves. And my point from the beginning is the only way we're going to liberate ourselves is us. Once you understand the concept of land infrastructure nationhood, then how do you do that? Well, in the BAL, we have a STEM group. We have a STEM group on Facebook and our name site. Once you understand that we are capable on a macro level of building a nation of our own. Now, that doesn't mean everybody has to go there, but it means that nation state is a just in case. Do people understand what psychological warfare is? The white man doesn't raise a hand to us. People say the Ku Klux Klan. It wasn't the Ku Klux Klan. It was psychological warfare. Black people feel they have way too much to lose by a confrontation with the white man. That's psychological warfare. They believe that you're convinced that you have no friends in this world. I was listening to the sister your show last night with the sister from Nigeria, and that was kind of disheartening, because it's almost everything. Despite tone of voice when she first came on, I knew exactly what she was going to say. I knew what question you were going to answer. What do you think about Africa? Oh, this and the other thing. I don't. This all this negativity. Now notice that these African immigrants never have anything negative to say about white people. You think that's any accident? Why? Because they see America as white.
Now, I'm gonna say real quick, Calagines. We're having an interesting debate on Facebook with our South African brothers and sisters.
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
All right.
We're gonna get into that. And the problem with that is, before I jump into this, remind me to jump into South Africa. Don't let me forget. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
The problem is, like I said in the last show, people come here for the what? Infrastructure. The money, the banks, everything. The one sister, she said, "Oh, the African food is better. African food is good." I tasted African food, but it's not better. You know what I'm saying? We have the world-class chefs here. You know what I'm saying? Every cuisine, American food is a hodgepodge, a homogeneous of foods from all over the world. So how can you basically say Nigerian food is better than American food? Because in America, you're gonna get Italian food, you're gonna get African food. You get all these things right here. So we're going to just discard everything in America because you say Nigerian food is better. Okay, if that's the case, then why is there no Nigerian five-star restaurants in America? Every other group of people, if they got good food, they come over here in America and get rich. How do you think the Italians got rich? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I got it, brother. I got to interrupt you for a second. So now there are some very wealthy Nigerian restaurant owners here in
Some, some,
Atlanta.
some. So in Atlanta, in areas like that, yeah, there's a few. You know what I'm saying? But
And the
you know
food
for
is
yourself.
good. It's good. Now there might not be, the 5-star cuisine or
Oh,
ratings.
and check this out. We have an African restaurants, a Nigerian restaurant where I live at. Okay, it's good food. But what I'm saying is this though, like the Mexicans, you see Mexican restaurants, Plaza Azteca, they're taking over. The Mexican restaurants taking over. Not only are they taking over, they were able to win over. I can never understand this. White people are so racist, but you go to San Diego, from Arizona, everything, every Mexican restaurant is Mexican. The Anglo-Saxons love Mexican food. They have parties, burritos, pinatas there. They have birthday parties there. Same
Uh,
with,
I see where you're
same,
going. I see where you're going.
you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tell you why though.
You'll have a Chinese or African restaurant here and there, but it's not on the level of if we say you said last night that Houston has a huge, large Nigerian population. Well, you should have like hundreds of Nigerian restaurants there. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
Let me. I'm gonna say this. So this is the thing you understand about African restaurants for the most part. Uh, they're only really supported by their own, number one. And I'm gonna tell you what people have told me the reason why Mexican restaurants are so successful. Number one, the food is cheap. Number two,
Yeah.
the margaritas. We don't know what the hell how they make the margaritas or what they put into the margaritas, but that's what keeps people to going, as far as to keep them going to these Mexican restaurants, and
Right.
why
Right. Right.
Mexican restaurants
Right,
every.
and like I said, and all that, the atmosphere. You know, what I'm saying you got
Right.
there, somebody with sombrero playing the banjo and stuff like that. People like it's when you go to a restaurant, you know, what I'm saying you're not just going to food for food. You're going to experience the culture. You know what I'm saying? You know
But
what I'm
also
saying?
too, I would say this now in LA, in Little Ethiopia, white people stay in these Ethiopian
Oh,
restaurants.
right, right. And now Ethiopia, like the Red Rooster, from what I hear, is owned by Ethiopian guy, but he's an African American, but he spoke on Ethiopia. But he have mostly
Yeah,
African American cuisine, and he has Ethiopian cuisine. You know, that was targeted in Harlem towards African Americans. You know what I'm saying? And I told this to Nigerians all the time. Like Liberians have cuisine, right? They sell a lot of food in Rhode Island, and even South Jamaica, Queens right now. There's a Liberian takeout restaurant. They're doing good in the black community. You know what I'm saying? The Africans, and then you got a lot of African Americans who got fish stores, stuff like that, Jamaicans and everything. There's a booming restaurant industry. Restaurant right there is an entry level. Let me tell you something. How the Chinese prospered in America? You know how Chinese got prospered in America? It wasn't
no,
railways. It was restaurants.
right,
You know what I'm saying? The restaurants is the reason why the Chinese were able to stay themselves. They own restaurants. You get a restaurant, people will buy your rice. These are rice cartels. These are rice and noodle cartels. You know, and they have their own commerce. Now, building a restaurant means that you're going to be importing from your home country. You're going to be doing it as commerce. So
right,
when people sit there and say, "Oh, I like Nigerian food" or whatnot, then why come you haven't gone into business? If food is so expensive, that means you don't have a home base supplying you stuff. That means there's something wrong with Nigeria. Then you need to go back to Nigeria and start rice farming. How can you do that when you're importing, or Nigeria imports billions of dollars worth of rice every day from Southeast Asia,
right.
where it got rice farmland? See, my whole thing is this: people listen to me talk, I was successful doing this because I tell it like it is. You know what I'm saying? If people could be frank with us all the time, they're always frank with us. They don't mind our feelings and everything like that. We'll tell you like it is. And the Nigerians and everything, they're not succeeding in America. You know what I'm saying? I know what success is with immigrants in this country. You know what I'm saying? The Mexicans are being successful. The Chinese are being successful. You know what I'm saying? Africans are coming over here just so to get a job and compete with African Americans. They think they're going to replace us. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. Now, if they came over here and became wholesalers, let me give you an example. I go down to the shipping docks, and we have the Virginia, we have the sixth largest port in North America, right here in Virginia. I
Okay,
sit down there, and sometimes for years I've been doing this. I've been watching ships come in, container ships come in. I take down notes. I look at the names on the containers coming in and stuff like that. I don't see anybody with any African names, Rwanda or something, Kalunda imports. No, I see Yang. I see some Zaki. I see Russian names. I see Swedish names. I see all these things with that. I don't see any African importing on a large scale. So what I'm saying is infrastructure is important. Having a good infrastructure will allow you to have a good thriving restaurant industry. You could be a restaurant industry is a multi-billion-dollar market. That's entry level. You
Right.
can't skip the basics and go, oh, Nigeria's succeeding in America. How are you going to succeed when you haven't mastered the basics? The basics is restaurants and owning small stores and stuff like that. That's the basics. That's the basics of all immigrant groups that come here. But you don't see that with African immigrants for the most part.
You just said something, bro. You really just said something.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're right.
And like I said, I try to tell it like it is because the whole idea is this: what's going on right now is like a war between black immigrants and Mr. President Davis and I talked about this and African Americans, and it's skillful. It's Africans are coming here, like the sister said the other night when I was watching this show. Sisters, the Africans are coming here out of a state of desperation. They're poverty. They're coming from poverty. They're not on our level. They think we're crazy because we don't take advantage of every little opportunity that comes our way. We're not third world people. We don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you got people here in many generations of African Americans have wealth. They own homes. They got family connections and everything like that. We're not in a state of desperation. No one's going to deport us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a difference there. Now, what we thought was that the Africans come here and we can do business. Well, they would rather do business with whites, and they never really turned out because whites, honestly, they'll talk to you if they can gain an advantage. Like in the oil sector, there's a lot of white Americans that live in Port Nigeria, in the oil business. Now that's probably as far as it's going to go. You're not going to see white Americans, take on any long-term commitment to building anything with Africans. It's not going to happen. You got a couple of white kids from Silicon Valley who are making money in places like Cameroon, stuff like that. That's a novelty. And I put some white boys onto some stuff, and they'll listen to my radio show. And he said, "Man, Colin, I listened to your show, man. I contacted this guy from Ghana, and I got a major I forgot what he said he did, right? But he said he invested some in some tech industry in Ghana, and he said he made a lot of money. I don't know what he said he did, but he said, thanks for listening to your show. He said, I had no idea Africa even had modern cities. So listen to your show. So he went over to Ghana, and whatever contract he did, whatever like that, he said, I want to thank you. I was just browsing your show, and the tech world, the software world is so competitive and everything. We're always looking for markets, and I had no idea Africa was modern. That they stuff like that. So he like that. Now I said that's good. So I'm glad to help you out. I hope that worked out for you. But my point is this. My point is this. Infrastructure is the most important thing, and I don't think Africans. Infrastructure requires good government. You know what I'm saying? It requires hard work. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you an example. When you look at a city like Pittsburgh, right? You look at the history of Pittsburgh and the Rust Belt area and everything like that. To build, these cities and these regions produce the steel for the world, right? The steel that went into buildings and cars and everything like that. That wasn't pretty. That wasn't nice, but it was hard. It was grueling. The people who worked those jobs, they made good money because white people don't sweat for nothing. But the bottom line is, even though you make good money, but that's a tough life. I worked in a factory before. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard life. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's grueling. It's only meant for really strong men and women. It takes willpower and determination to get up every morning, punch a clock every day, and go to a hard job that, that's a thankless job. Hard back-breaking work is a thankless job. You know what I'm saying? It's a thankless industry. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, this culture of hard work has not really transformed to the African continent. There's a steel mill, my friend John Cashin was showing me today. Him and I were talking today about that steel mill in Nigeria that's been sitting dormant for 20 years. There's one Nigerian politician, she wants that steel mill open. And now some people like Nigeria like, well, if it costs too much. He said, well, the cost not opening it is greater because we're importing steel, which our foreign reserves are disappearing because we got to import steel for buildings and everything like that in China. So why don't we build our own steel industry up again and be a regional steel, be a player in the steel market? We have the labor, we have everything. All we need training, dedication, and thing to build a steel industry. Africa has no heavy industry on the continent. No heavy industry. You mean you tell me a continent of a billion people all the heavy industry, all the heavy lifting, shipping and everything is done by outsiders. That's why Africa has a net loss every year of like $90 billion. When it all said and done, after trading, transactions, everything like that, the net loss in Africa is like $90 billion. So Africa right now is functioning at a loss. That's why people give you these hyped up things of, oh, Africa has growth and everything. No, it doesn't. Because the bottom line on the back end, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes out that's not even accounted for.
Let me ask, will Africa continue to function on at a loss if they continue to rely on, we'll say, for example, China to come in and build their infrastructure?
Well, it's like, this is how it is, right? Chinese give Africans a loan. It's not, right. They don't give it to us a loan. In return, China's taking billions of dollars worth of copper, and they're basically stockpiling their copper, tin, all these things, and they make billets, right? Each one of these copper billets that they refine billet weigh about 200 pounds, right? They stockpile these things, they ship them on the ship, right? They ship them in China, and they stockpile. China's able to borrow, you monetize that, right? Same thing with when we built the Natural Resource Bank in Angola, right? We're going to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? China's able to monetize these things for generations. Okay, we got copper futures and everything, so we can monetize. You can monetize anything. You can monetize water. You know what I'm saying? Anything that can be consumed can be monetized if it's hard, if it's developed. So therefore, Africans basically, like, this is how it goes. Zambia has copper, right? But it's poor. Right? It's rich in copper, but it's poor. People say, well, how does that happen? You know, it's simple. The people that control that speculate on copper, right? Speculate that the copper future is going to be at this price. What they'll do is they'll tell the Zambian government, right? Okay, lay some people off, right? Lay some people slow down production. Okay, why? Because you're producing too much. Price is going down. So therefore, they can estimate, okay, by this month the price will be right here. So they'll buy low, right? And then they'll say, okay, then sell high. They'll sell high. It's okay. You remember Mark Rich, the guy that got pardoned by Bill Clinton? The guy that was on the run, he faked his death.
Is this the dude that allegedly Bill Clinton was like a child molester? He was on the same.
I don't know about that part, but he was basically living in Zurich, in Switzerland for a decade.
Not really. Not really.
Bill Clinton pardoned him at the last minute. Mark Rich, he faked his death, and everything. And this guy was making millions of dollars in copper futures and everything, robbing the Zambian government and everything like that. And then the Zambian government is required to do all responsible for the labor, maintenance, upkeep on these copper mines that they co-own with this company. The whole idea of this company is, okay, they produce copper, but what they're doing is they're borrowing against the copper futures. You know, it's in other words, basically, some people think that when you produce copper or steel or iron billet, it automatically goes into production. No, sometimes it's stockpiled, right? And people buy options on it, right? Let's say they buy it at this price right here, right? When the product becomes the price goes up or whatnot, they can sell they can speculate that the price is going to go up at a certain point, and then they can sell it at a higher price. So that's called option trading. That means you buy an option of copper. That means you say you have hundreds of tons of copper that's sitting out there on bills and everything. You own a small option, 0.1% of that, right? Now, any movement in the price of that, you can sell it for. If it goes up or not, you can say, okay, I'm gonna sell my options and get out. And the buyer comes in and says, okay, I'm gonna buy at this price. The reason why it's done like that is because sometimes the buyer's not ready for it yet. In other words, you can keep producing, but the buyer says, okay, there's a glut in the market. I don't really need it right now and everything like that. Maybe 5 months from now, I'm gonna need it. Boom. So when they really need it right then and there, then they sell that price. Option trading and futures trading allow you to buy for the future. Okay, I'm thinking by May. Okay, May prices, we can set the price in May at this price right here. Okay, I'm going to sell at that price right there, or I can hold, right, and see what thing. The risk is if it holds, the price will drop back down again. You're back to square one. So, but the thing is, the problem I'm saying is this: all this currency manipulation and stock manipulation and futurism is done outside the continent. There's no city in Africa that handles African futures. Now, Africa has its own city, right? Like I think Kigali wants to be that city, right? Which they basically have their own commodities exchange, and people basically have to put capital into Rwanda and speculate for position. That's what Africans want to do. But Europeans have made sure that African cities are not don't have the infrastructure for that and everything. There should be regional exchanges, like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Okay, there should be regional exchanges, a stock exchange, and the mercantile exchange, and commodity exchange as part of your financial infrastructure. Okay, they're part of your financial infrastructure of your nation state or the region. Okay, you know. So that's what I want to say about that.
Okay. What you want to talk about the South African situation now? Or you want to wait?
Oh yeah. Let me address that.
Okay. Well, I mean, because we got to address that because I mean it goes along with the you know they'll blame other black people, but they won't blame white people.
Right. And like I said, the sick culture. You know, so the one sister, and she's like, well, you know, Nigerians are criminals and whatnot. You know, and she said they're worse than Mexicans. Is she crazy? You know, worse than Mexicans? Mexican drug cartels who basically are making billions, destroying cities in America. Is she serious? Nigerians have their problems and everything, but Nigerians, for the most part, majority of them are good people. You know what I'm saying? And they also our brothers and sisters. You know, I believe that there's
it's not even that, but where's the what was it? The reconciliation? What was it called when after apartheid? How they had the trial.
The truth and reconciliation.
Yeah. Where's that for the Nigerians?
They did. You talking about? Are we echoing?
No. I'm fine. I don't see anybody mentioning an echo in the chat room.
Okay. Now the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was set up to examine. It was a stand. It was shit from day one. It was designed to basically say you were let's compensate. It made it an individual thing. In other words, basically, I was shocked at that when it happened, because instead of being wholesale and general oppression of black people, they completely ignored it.
Right.
And basically focused on the people who lost money, who lost relatives by the South police and stuff like that. So in other words, they basically made it like a thing. It was almost like one time I heard people shouting at Mandela and the ANC saying we want justice and whatnot. Oh, wait. It was a white government that did all this, not the ANC. So basically, what the whole thing was they wanted to get move past race and made it seem like apartheid was something almost done by a mutual government of black and white people, and it was apartheid. The government apartheid. The government had to pay compensation and jail some officials, everything. And the dragnet, they arrested a lot of Inkatha people, and ANC people were also arrested. So in other words, it was never about prosecuting the white supremacist government or taking white supremacy. It was just truth and reconciliation. In other words, basically, we all did some dirt, so let's slap each other on the hand and find out truth and reconcile. You know, and it worked out for the Africans. This thing is really annoying me.
Oh yeah, okay. People are saying they hear an echo, but it's just I don't hear an echo, but people are saying they hear an echo.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Now, what I was saying was this: the black middle class, the people you see on Facebook are the new rural reach and the black middle class, right?
Right.
They figure they got a good thing going on here. They got, like they'll tell you, but echoes really getting on my nerve. they'll tell you that the government of South Africa is a rainbow government, and that we're using the whites for temporary, which they know that's a lie. What they want is they want to live the nice lifestyle of the first world, right? Pretend like the whites aren't the ones really controlling the economy, and they benefit. They got a nice infrastructure. South Africa's a beautiful country.
Right, it is.
A nice infrastructure and everything like that. But the whole thing is, and they want to completely. This is what the sad part about all this. And it's a sad part about Africa. Tell me what you think about this. Africans do not like you talking about their problems.
Absolutely. But why is that? But this is my issue. This is my issue. When they were going through apartheid, Black Americans helped out, Nigerians, Angola.
Yes.
Everybody pitched in. But now, since they're going through this issue still, they don't want to say anything about it.
It's a pride thing. They live in a facade. Mm-hmm. And if I get rid of this echo, I can really.
Yeah, they say you have a headset. You have headphones.
Yeah, maybe I'll take that out. Hold on. How is this now?
Okay, but so you were using headphones.
Hold on. Let's see. And then
I don't. Are you still screen sharing? Because it's going like back. It's like jumping like back and forth.
Okay. Let me go back to this. Sure. All right. Now this is what I was saying. Maybe lose my train of thought. What was the point
about? We were discussing how blacks all over the world were in support of South Africa during apartheid ended, but now.
Yeah, the problem right now. Wait a minute. Let's something. Hello. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Hold on. Yeah. All right. I don't know what this is, but I think eventually, as a. This is really getting on my nerves. Well, the problem in South Africa is the fact that people in South Africa, black people in South Africa, they want to basically move past and pretend it doesn't exist. South Africa divested itself from the African continent. It divested itself. In other words, it was a white infrastructure. Now, if you really look at it, South African port of Durban is a port of call for the sub-region. The train lines and everything. There's a port of Durban connect all the way up to Zimbabwe by rail, right? So that's important. That's what gives South Africa such a much power. It's connected to the interior. Now, the Africans at the same time, they maintain a white minority in the developing infrastructure areas of South Africa, Johannesburg, Durban, Port Elizabeth, and everything. These are white settled, right? What you have is black people, white areas, right? White areas, and basically occupying, trying to move into the first world. But the thing is, the majority of black people are still living in townships and destitute. The blacks in the townships are the ones most angry about this because they feel like they're being left. When you see other Africans there, and they're basically working for less, and they're basically working. They got business skills. Some of them got skills. They're very skilled. So when they
brother, you're going in and out. I think it was better when you had. So you took the earphones out.
Yeah.
It was better with the.
Oh, let me put the earphones back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the headset would be better. Everybody's saying the headset would be better.
All right. I wonder.
They're saying they hear an echo in the chat, but I don't hear an echo. It sounds fine to me. But go ahead.
All right. Now the problem is oh, I hate it. All right. The problem. Oh my Lord. All right. Here's the thing. The whites in South Africa live in the first world, right? The blacks, except for Soweto, for the most part, Soweto modernized itself. It got a lot of money during the Mandela era. It has a shopping mall, and they got some nice houses in Soweto and everything like that. So it's looking better. But it still has the stigma, and you still got some shanty towns. The majority of people. Let me see the documentary a couple of years ago. And you had people living in like the shacks in Soweto, and this one lady was like, I guess she had some home improvement thing. She was a single mother. It was a one room house, right? It was like it looked like a tin roof and everything. Little small tiny house, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she swore, and she was like a nurse, but she swore up and down she was part of the new black middle class. Now, she was living in standard housing that she'd probably be illegal in America, but she swore she was in the middle class. Now, what's happening is black South African government is taking these numbers of middle class. They don't have any real standard of who's the middle class and everything. It's just what you feel like. Do you feel like you're in the middle class? Yeah, I live over here. I guess she had electricity, and I think she had running water too inside her house.
Mm-hmm.
So that in Africa means middle class. Because there was a picture I would want to show, but I didn't want to show on the show. Had this in some of the townships in Cape, I don't remember this situation in Cape Town, they do these outside toilets. The outside toilets for the people.
Okay.
Do you remember that situation?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, remember that. So therefore, if you start talking about that, I'll make you a pick, right? I'll go on Facebook and say whatever happened to this situation right here. It's not that the Democratic Party built these outside toilets for the black township. I bet you anyway the first people that will come and attack me are our usual suspects.
Right.
They don't like being embarrassed. They feel it's embarrassing. They think we're putting them down, and I'm like, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? I understand that miracles can happen in South Africa. And as South Africans have always been led to believe, because they live in South Africa, they're superior to Africans from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
They believe they're the first world in LA. But then other Africans come there and they got educated. Do you know the most educated Africans on the continent are Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe has the highest literacy rate. But you got Zimbabwe.
Well, that's crazy because the media tells us the opposite.
Mugabe was the most educated man to ever hold presidential office. He was an educated man in the world. He graduated Oxford. He's a highly educated man. And he stressed education in Zimbabwe. You know what I'm saying? These weren't poor. The media has a good job of making any country that defies them as unsuccessful and stuff like that. The reason why they couldn't do what they did to Zimbabwe and Liberia is because they're pretty much a homogeneous society. They didn't have a so-called indigenous population ready to freaking pull out their spears and machetes as a drop of a hat. They're basically a homogeneous society, and they were the most educated, highest literacy rate on the African continent, highest literacy rate on the African continent. So that's. I would love to know where that echo is coming from.
I don't hear the echo. That's just crazy. I don't hear it, man. But go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. So therefore they couldn't do that. Now because they put the same thing in Zimbabwe got a lot of refugees in South Africa, right? And when people are poor and they lash out, they use powerless people usually lash out people that look like them. In 2008, I did a blog called I forgot that I did two blogs, and I said something about the Rainbow Nation. It was on my blog spot, and I was actually shocked when these people came into the townships, the refugee camps, and burned Zimbabweans alive. That's what basically woke me up to the fallacy of Pan Africanism. Because I had believed in Mandela, and I say to myself, my God, how can you take a knife or a bullet to somebody who looks like you and butcher them with cold blood? But you never lifted a finger to the white settlers who are still oppressing you.
Right.
You know, and this is
and then when you call them out on that, they get into full defense mode. Like
you call them out, and
every excuse in the book.
They got every excuse in the book why that is. You know, and they'll say they're criminals. And I said like this: wait a minute. If you say Nigeria is a criminal, right, you can arrest them. That's what we're doing in America. So let's pull out our American card for a minute. Another thing, we can't be ashamed to pull out our American card. You say, hold on, wait a minute. We know police are killing people like America. That's racist. That's a different thing. You are killing people because they're poor, and you're killing people because they are black. You know what I'm saying? And you're black. You know what I'm saying? In this country, for the most part, most criminals get their day in court. 99.9% of them get their day in court. You know, that's something we believe in. You do process of law, you get your day in court. But what's happening is I'm listening to Africans saying, well, you got to do something about these criminals. They get ready. Wait a minute. You mean tell me you don't believe that somebody deserves to be heard, guilty before proven, innocent before proven guilty,
right?
And all these things, And so it's just that thing is really getting on my nerve.
I mean, it's crazy. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm hearing in my thing. You know, I'm hearing in my thing. Okay, so basically what I'm.
Yeah, people are saying the echo's really bad. I
don't know. Well, if I could do something on my end, maybe if I call off of my phone. I don't think that. Can I do that? Can I do that?
Do what?
Oh, if I call off my phone, I would disconnect right here, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you wanted to do the show from your phone. Yeah. You would have to disconnect. But then have you figured out how to screen share on your phone?
No, you can't do it. So I can't. So I'll just leave it like that. I'll leave
or maybe what you could do. Yeah, but it's not gonna work like that.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's saying that the echo's bad. But yeah, I guess just let
me try. Let me call from my phone.
Okay, yeah. So disconnect here and call from your phone. Oh, let's see here. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Sorry about the echo on Brother Caligenesis, and I can't hear it. It sounds completely fine. The echo. I mean, it sounds completely. The sound sounds fine to me. So sorry about that, but hope you guys are enjoying the show. Brother Bomani, if you're still watching, let's do a show tomorrow. Just let me know. Keep me posted. If you want to do around 10 o'clock, just keep me posted, brother Bomani. We could do a show tomorrow. Make sure you guys get the likes up as you come into the chat room. Get the likes up, please. I really appreciate that. Also, make sure you go to I'll go ahead and do all the announcements now. Okay.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
You there, bro?
Okay.
Are you there?
1 second. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's fine. Everybody, go on and keep talking, and then we'll see if you're echoing or not. But I guess you sound fine to me.
Okay. It must be my computer. Yeah, it must be it's my computer. I don't know. You know what? You know what I think it is?
Go ahead.
I think when I need to on my computer, I need to get some real headsets with a separate microphone.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely right. So, yeah, go ahead, brother.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you fine. I mean, you're fine on my end. I just want to make sure the in the chat room you're not echoing. But they'll let me know if you are. But just go ahead and continue.
Hold up. Okay. All right, hold up. Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. All right, great. Like 50 headsets. I'm trying to figure which one's the best. All right, like I was saying before about the South African situation. The main thing is infrastructure. The whites in South Africa control infrastructure. The black people know it. If you don't think you think I'm lying to you, go down to Cape Town Marina. The marina. Have you been to Cape Town?
I have. I've been to Cape Town Marina.
Now you know that's the whitest place on earth. Now you got black people down there who are fitting in. You know, you got some guys down there. You know, it's like any place else in America. You know, you go to any other marina, you see brothers hanging out in the bars and everything. But you know for a fact the day-to-day mechanism of the Cape Town Marines are run by white people. The people,
Whites and Indians. There are a
whites
lot
and
of
Indians.
Indians. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones controlling the infrastructure of the maritime infrastructure of South Africa. You know, and the bottom line is whites basically control the country from top to bottom. You know, and so therefore you see black people out there doing their thing and everything like that. But the bottom line is this: if white people are driven out of South Africa, that's why I don't get this guy Malema. I don't know what he think he's going to try to do and everything. Because
How do you feel about Malema?
well, it's like this. I talk to people from the Pan Africans Congress. They say he's like he's an economic freedom fighter, but they say he's a bougie type that doesn't want the real revolution, and that he basically is trying to hijack the real revolutionary movement. And the people who criticize him, and the people that basically support him, the people that critically support him, to me, both of these people basically are misguided. Uh, I understand what he means by economic freedom and everything, but at the same time, the question I asked years ago was, what are black people in South Africa bringing to the table? You know, what are they bringing to the table? Most black people in South Africa don't want to go to the farms. You know, they're not going to go to the farms.
If you can do us a favor, not move your mic around because people, it's hard to.
Okay.
If you keep the mic still.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I apologize about this.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. So Julius Malema and all these people talk about economic freedom. They haven't given us a plan on just how so-called black people are going to replace white people. When get this, most of the farms in South Africa, the work is done by black labor,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
So therefore, what you want to do is you want to become the new economic force because the black people who are farmers and dirt poor, their situation is not going to change. You know, their situation is not going to change. You know, whatsoever. What will happen is you'll have a select group of black people who basically will benefit from owning these farms and everything.
Right.
And the poor black people will still remain on the bottom. Such and such happened with that mining situation. You remember that mining shootout that happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But that was ordered by Cyril Ramaphosa and a few other people in the ANC. They ordered this thing. I don't. Let me say something. I don't know if anybody tried to sabotage the show or what, because our sound quality, I've never seen anything like this. We had a perfect show the other night, and
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know who is. It's just the people keep saying where you have the mic situated is.
But I changed the mic and everything, but I still get that echo. You know.
I don't hear it. I mean, but
Okay.
But just keep going. Keep going.
Okay. So what I'm saying is Julius Malema and all these other people are part of the black elites. And I have nothing wrong with black elites and everything, but you cannot have a black elite and white supremacy at the same time. You know, you can't have a black elite, and you have a white system that's above you.
All
You
right.
know, the basically the blacks in South Africa who have money and have position, everything like that. Remember something, right? Remember something. Blacks in South Africa were always the majority, right? They never really felt the real brunt of racism like we have. Okay,
Right.
okay. Psychologically, remember they fought the British in the Boers.
Hey,
They had territories.
like you keep. Are you moving? It's like where you have the mic at. Like you keep.
Hold up. All right. I hope that's better.
That's better. You just keep
All
it
right.
right there. Don't move. Don't move.
All right. All right. Now, there's places in South Africa where black people are indigenous to the land. You got KwaZulu, Bafutha-Swana, the Eastern Cape, you know, and some of the homelands, you know. Black people in America never had any space. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no black homelands on this continent. You know, every time we tried to build a homeland, whatever like that, it was destroyed, raised down. You know, so psychologically, black people in South Africa are not in the same position, and they were the numerical majority. You know, so when apartheid was over and everything like that, that was just a little okay. Over apartheid's over. What now? You know, they never really suffered the. If you're black in South Africa, you got education. The generation that South Africans are suffering the most because they never got education. They never went to school. The new generation are getting jobs and stuff like that, and they're moving on to society. They're hanging out with whites and Indians and everything, and they're moving on to this so-called New South Africa, right?
Right.
Well, the majority of black people are basically still left behind and everything. And the whole thing is, like we said earlier in the show, we get back to this, is that they don't want anybody talking to the majority because the bottom line is they don't want to. Remember I talked to you about delayed gratification?
Right.
You know, they want their gratification now.
Right.
You know, they don't want to persevere. I talked about that in the last show. I said perseverance. They don't want to persevere. Because how can you persevere if you're not one? You know, the black people really, when you look at it, the ANC are basically Pan-Africanists. They think in terms of being black and everything. But the majority of people in KwaZulu Natal see themselves as Zulu. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because they have nothing in common. If you have no education, right? You have no real education. You don't have any. You don't see anything in common with a Xhosa, person or a Swana. You don't see anything in common, with somebody from Soweto or whatever like that. All you know is you're a Zulu. That's a Zulu king. I'm a Zulu here. You haven't been educated enough to realize that to see a worldview where you see yourself as part of the black experience. Now, just the opposite. You got the Pan-Africanist Congress, right? And the SWIPO, SWIPO and the PAC, These are radical black people that are akin to the new Black Panther Party. They're pro-black and they don't believe in tribalism and all stuff like that. But they're a small group. Their following is not that big in Soweto. They're following mostly in Johannesburg and the Cape Town and some parts of Port Elizabeth and stuff like that.
But the socialization part and sway. And see, this is a problem we have to face, right? When people become like more educated and they got wealthy, they walk away from those radical groups. You know what I'm saying?
True.
The Pan African Congress,
That's like that
yeah,
here in America too.
yeah. The Pan African Congress, they're still in their goal. Stated charter is white people must leave. White people must leave. Anton Lebebe, the founder of the one of the founders of PAC. That's why the PAC broke away from the ANC. You know what I'm saying? They said there could be no nation, and it's the only way in South Africa. They took the Pan Africanism that they learned from Black America and the African Americans that lived there, really, literally. You know what I'm saying? Not figuratively, literally. They really believe, in many layman's terms, that white people should be on the next boat to Australia. Now, you can't do that because whites control the infrastructure. What are you going to replace it with? South Africa is not a banana republic. You know what I'm saying? And so, therefore, when you ask me, what do you think about Malema and everything like that? Malema just wants to take all the land from whites. Okay, that's good. The Pan African Congress is saying, no, that's a compromise and everything like that. We want whites gone altogether. Both of these people, even though they're creating a lot of noise, are not going to go anyplace. So the majority of South Africans have just, for the most part, have written these two groups off. And that's sad when you've been written off by your own people. You know what I'm saying? You're written off because the majority of South Africans say, okay, well, for the most part, we can't get along with them. And what they're doing is this: since we don't want to deal with that black-white issue right here, they turn their attention towards what? Nigerians.
Easy way
out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you turn your attention to Nigerians, then you don't have to deal with that. It's a battle for who can put what issue agenda in the media. Malema's talking about the farms. PhD is talking about white people in general and everything like that. And then you got a huge section of people from like Johannesburg, Soweto, where I told you earlier, this stuff is coming from, in Durban and everything, who want to focus on foreigners. And what gets me is they never intersect, right? I heard Chris Sincard say one time on the blog, said, we don't have any problem with black, as long as you're black and everything like that. He's with the new Black Panther Party and SWAPO of South Africa. Well, anyway, I would say to him, I told him, I said, look, man, you better start saying that a little louder, because the bottom line is this: you want black people from America, you want to join forces with us and everything like that. I'm looking at what's going on with the Nigerians and whatnot, and I'm not convinced.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not convinced. So, like I said, with South Africa, these black South Africans, they want to enjoy their life and everything. But the thing is, they know the bottom line is we're the judge. African Americans are the judge and jury. You know what I'm saying? They try so hard to impress us with this new lifestyle. There's a lot of black people going on. My boy Mark Blanton is inside. He has a South African tour. He opened up a doll manufacturer. I don't know how it went and everything. He was manufacturing African dolls in South Africa 2 years ago. He's back now. He has a Wakanda South African tours and everything. And it's high scale stuff like that. South Africa is a beautiful place to visit. And you remember the Blacks Without Borders series and everything.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually reached out to
Eugene Jackson.
It was a lady. She was she did real estate, and she I know she was a motivational speaker. She's here in Atlanta. I actually got in contact with her, but it never really
Well, she was on Blacks Without Borders?
Yeah, it was a black lady.
I can't remember. I remember the lady that was doing filmmaking, the lady, the jury maker. I remember the one light-skinned dude that's from Harlem. He was there. And then Eugene Jackson is somebody else. There's a couple. I got to go back and look. It's been years since I watched it. I got to go watch that again. Maybe I missed somebody, And so anyway, the problem is you can live a good life over there in Africa, have a nice
absolutely.
house.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely. Some of those houses look like the best houses in Beverly Hills and whatnot. I'm like, wow, nice lifestyle. Everyone loves the lifestyle, right? Like that. But the bottom line is this, though: if you can have a network of friends and just relocate and everything, that's good. That's anywhere in Africa. If you got money and don't want to be bothered with all the social problems and everything like that, but there's turmoil in Africa. There's turmoil in Black America. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit back and ignore this stuff like that. You have to choose to decide what the heck. So what do? You think about them burning Nigerians in the street? You know what I'm saying? I got to say something.
I can't just say, "Oh, I love South Africa," and I'm stepping over dead bodies and whatnot. I can't do that. And the South Africans that we have here on Facebook and everything battle me is they want to convince us that South Africa is a good country, blah blah blah. That we're just on par with Black America. We just no, you're not.
Right.
I mean, far from it. Our worst friggin' ghettos. You know what I'm saying? Have indoor plumbing. I even go to and the people. There's people I know in the hood. They open the refrigerator, the food is flowing out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But we know why.
Oh yeah, because they're not
That's
paying Section 8 and everything like that.
Yeah, that's why.
But the thing is, though, they don't have that in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Poverty is real. It's sharp. Poverty is sharp as the edge of a blade in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And the bottom line, that's even getting to there. The majority of people have not gotten into the first world. They're still living in shade towns with no running water. They're not connected to the electrical grid. They have no indoor plumbing and everything like that. And for the foreseeable future, it's never going to change. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. And so the whole thing is this. What I do is, okay, I acknowledge, yeah, South Africa got some booming places. I know y'all got some hot spots. I know y'all got a little middle class growing and everything like that. I'll give you that. Okay. And they don't want us talking about their poor. In other words, basically, they don't want us looking at, it's like somebody's house, is falling apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was an old saying. There was I forgot what poem. I read this in college one time. As an old parable. How do you basically tell a woman there's a stench coming from her house? How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you tell? You ever heard of the stench coming from your house? What's a polite way of telling somebody there's a stench coming from the house?
Your house you need to fix your own house. Your house.
Yeah. But what would that do? What would that do? What would that cause? And the bottom line, you tell the South Africans, I know you guys have no ability to fix that. You know what I'm saying? No ability. Because you guys, basically, South Africa, unlike Nigeria, like I said, I give Nigeria one thing. They're real, except for them being corrupt, they're real dynamic people. You know what I'm saying? They're real dynamic. They just basically just don't have the character or the national spirit to say, let's make Nigeria one place for everybody. Nigeria is something that just happens to you, not something, I'm Nigerian. Like, why did God curse me to be a Nigerian? Let me get the hell out of here. It's when they go over to Australia, suddenly, my country of Nigeria was so great. The country's so great when they're living overseas. You ever notice that?
Say that. I want you to say that one more time.
Everybody in Africa, their country is real great when they're living overseas. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When they're living in that country, like, I got to get the hell out of this hell on earth, whatever like that. They'll defend their countries. I was like, well, wait a minute. You're defending your country. Where you at? This guy argued me from Quebec and whatnot, Ontario and whatnot in Canada. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? Who the heck cares what you guys say? You don't even live in your own country. That's what it is, And like I said, with social media, and this is another problem right here. How do you basically go to a country if you're not trying to assimilate? Every time you see social media is making it hard to assimilate because people get in their chat rooms and their social networks and everything, and they argue politics of their home country, and they don't bother participating really in building anything in their country that they're in.
Right.
And that's what happened. That's what's happening all over. Now, I can see that happen. You can say that happening in Australia. Professor Davis and I was talking about this today. He said, do you know there's almost no Black institutions in Europe? And they've been there for a while. So when people, there's no Black colleges, there's nothing. There's no real Black institutions in Europe at all. That you can say, okay, this institution does this, do this, stuff like that, There's almost no Black political representation in Europe, you know, and stuff like that. Then when you come to America, we have institutions that are hundreds of years old. Why is that? Because Black America is pretty much established for the most part in North America. And we was able to establish ourselves and launch from here into Africa, all throughout the continent, So therefore, that's why I said Black America is in a position right now to unite Africa and the African diaspora. It's going to have to be us,
And I say that to say, say this, right? A lot of times we get in these shows, right? And Professor Davis and I will talk about this and everything. The ignorance concerning the history of African Americans and basically the accomplishments of what we was able to achieve in this country is unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Because we got people. The first automobiles built by a black man. This guy Patterson. You know, do most people even know that? The scientists we produce, everything. Why is it that when people always say, "Oh well, these people are doing so well," and it got to the point where I was feeling bad about myself. Oh man, I felt inferior to Nigerians and Ghanaians. They do so well. Then I looked at it. Wait a minute here. I started looking at our accomplishments and all stuff we've done and everything. I started looking at it differently. See, that's what happens when you get swept up into Pan-Africanism. When I first basically saying, "Wait, hold up. This is who I am. These are my people. This is what we created. You got to step the people with from a position of strength. You cannot let Africans and anybody else talk down to you because the narrative of Africans about African Americans is not coming from any learning or anything. It's coming from the white media.
Right.
The white media and the white narrative is what Africans go on. You know what I'm saying? So they naturally have a think of they think they're superior to us. Oh, we go to college. I said, do you understand how many HBCUs we have? Do you know we have some of the most prominent educated? You don't see them on the TV because the only thing people talk about on TV is rappers and sports stars. They get all the airtime and everything. You don't know that there's a whole Black America that's this middle class that's thriving, that's doing other things and everything. Don't do crime, raising families, everything. They don't see that part of Black America in the media and when they come over here. Or they don't look at, or they ignore it. That's another thing. They ignore when they see Black people and everything. Because I know for a fact, my city, Virginia Beach, we're 22% of the population. This is a middle class city. We have a low crime, one of the lowest crime rates in the country. But we have a huge Black population. How's that? Well, most of the people are ex-military. They're professionals. We have business owners and everything. We got contractors. We got some of everything here in Black America. There's businesses open all over the place. Restaurants, grocery stores and everything like that in Virginia Beach and everything. It's a thriving city for Black people, And so barbershops, we got barbershops that cater to both Black and white, doing really well. Everybody's, there's a lot of stuff going on here in where I live at. So the bottom line is, and also where I live at, you have the African braiding salon. We got Africans live here and everything,
right?
Togo and everything. You're gonna tell me, and like I said, and a lot of Africans are disingenuous. For yourself. Yeah, we got problems with some of the Black people in the area and everything, but you can't tell me every day you see Black people in your neighborhoods, in these suburbs, with nice homes, cutting their grass, raising their family, and everything like that. And basically, you're gonna get on social media. Oh, this is you know what I'm saying? So we gotta look at that too. What does the Bible say? Thou shalt not what? Bear false witness against thy neighbor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why is it that we have our brothers and sisters in Africa who going back to Africa giving us such a bad rep? When they're over here seeing this balance and they ignore the white people that's messing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. There's another girl from Zambia, same thing.
Yeah. Oh, a girl from Zambia said that?
Yeah. I mean, ignore what the bad things that non-Blacks are doing, but will tell Black Americans don't come over here with that mentality, that militant mentality.
Well, hold up. The whites come over there and they rape your children. And you remember that guy from the Kenya that went to Kenya, was molesting little children?
Yeah. The missionary.
They'll forget about that. Whites will forget about it. The Africans will forget about that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The child trafficking. There was a case in Liberia years ago where not only were there was an underground adoption agency thing. They were holding kids in pens like animals, and whites were coming over there picking. I want this one. I want this one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This goes on. But we ignore this. We point this out. Oh, you hate Africa. You hate Africa. No, we're defending ourselves. You know what I'm saying? The gangster rapper and the thug area, that don't represent the good Black people who are the majority. In every situation, we always know there's good and bad. Mm-hmm. You got to take your pick. But when it comes to African Americans, 45 million of us we're all out here thugging and doing the same thing.
You would think that the people that look like us would give us the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? When we go to Africa to build and reconnect and everything, which they should be reaching out to us to tell you the truth, right? We're giving you the Africans the benefit of the doubt because we don't really have to. You know, we could survive in America without Africa. You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
come over here of what we built. You know what I'm saying? Give us the benefit. They don't bother giving us the benefit of the doubt. It's always hating. Why I say? Because many Africans are addicted to tribalism. They can't help it. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to talk about it to other people that's not like them. You know, it's a tribalism addiction. You know, I don't know what it'll take to stop this. And like Professor Davis was saying, the Chinese have continuity because our culture has not. We have not been a literate culture for more than 200 years, to tell you the truth. When you have a so-called oral tradition and everything, oral traditions change by language, by people forgetting stuff and everything. When you have a written history, right, where people have books and illustrations, and they basically pass that on and everything like that, you break down cultural and tribal barriers. You know what I'm saying? And then over time, people become one people. You know, tribalism is in your primitive state. I'm a tribe, whatever like that. As you socialize, like I said on the last show, people ask me how we're gonna build a nation with this different. I said socialization, socialization through marriage, through togetherness, through building, through fellowship and everything like that, through war, through peace, everything socializes people, music, dance, everything like that. When people have more in common, they start building together, and then whatever tribal or whatever barrier that they had before eventually disappears. That's how the Calvins, the Lombards, the Gauls, and all these other people became Frenchmen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Saxonies, the Jutes, and the Anglos became Englishmen. They were warring tribes at one time.
Right.
You know? And then the Rome came in. They said, well, geez, we're fighting against each other. That famous chick, Border Harbor, that famous English warrior, that queen. You know what I'm saying? She fought the Romans but lost and everything.
Right.
You know, she united England. You know what I'm saying? Face Rome. She was crushed, but that began the spirit of being an Englishman. You know what I'm saying? We were only disunited because Rome was united as one force, and we're all here tribalized and everything, you know? See, tribalism ended 1,500 years before Africa. Africa still hasn't learned anything from history. You know what I'm saying? If you're living in a geographical area, you pretty much have the same language and everything. You are the same people. You know? I can't get my Igbo brother to look at the Hausa brother and say, we're one people. Let's just make this work. No. I can't get my brothers from the Cross Rivers or the Delta area to say, tell the Yoruba brother, let's just build this thing, man. We can be a superpower.
Mecca. I got to get a Mecca on the show again.
Oh, that guy, that dude, man, please. I've been battling with that dude for years, man. You know, he just don't get it. He sits in Europe, right? He sits in Europe. His friends are all white. His girlfriends are white and everything. He talks about he wants some state in the Delta. You know, he wants an Austria-style state in the Delta area. You know, these people are delusional. But yeah, he got the nerve to tell me, "Oh, you're not African." Look, I'm more African than you are. You know what I'm saying? You go to Nigeria twice out of the year, and you spend more time around white people and Europeans than you do Africans. You know, you know anything. The whole idea of nationalism is when you basically the line of demarcation is another race, not people look like you. If people are basically look like you, then you try to assimilate them into one whole. Now you could say let's create a more federalized, decentralized Nigeria, which each state, which you said is more empowered. That's legitimate. You know what I'm saying? But since Nigeria has been recognized over the last 100 years as a geopolitical entity, why break it up now? You know what I'm saying? You know, you may have regional autonomy. You know what I'm saying? You might like Biafra might make the case for regional autonomy and everything like that. You know, stuff like that. But the bottom line is Nigeria needs to get serious about a strong centralized government because if Nigeria falls, all of West Africa could collapse. You know.
Right.
You know, if that does, the whole continent collapse, then we're weaker here in America. You know, so what was I gonna say? But for sure, I wish to God I could
The echo went away. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. The sound is perfect. I mean, we got to do that up. I mean, but I know you want to share.
Yeah, I really did. I gotta figure this thing out. Like I said, I when I said that, I said somebody messing with a thing, and it sort of went away. I really do think somebody's trying to sabotage us. What they're trying to do.
Yeah, the sound is perfect, man. Let's see. We got a lot of people are saying you sound very arrogant.
What do you mean arrogant?
They're just saying
Explain.
I guess the way you're speaking on I guess Africans who are relocating to America, and this idea that is better back home, but they live here in America. Let me read some more. Oh, they're saying that you're not providing any solutions, but my response to we've already done that in other shows.
Oh yeah, we're done. I'm gonna get to the solutions. I'm gonna get to the solutions in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to the solutions in a minute. The solution has always been first of all, there's no black infrastructure, right? Like this. First of all, we gotta learn what infrastructure is. You gotta learn what infrastructure is, right? And it takes African men start being men. You know what I'm saying? And start running the continent like men and start acting like boys. If the bottom line is this, I know if African American men had control of any of these countries, Africa would be a superpower because of our mentality.
Right.
I just know that for a fact. But you have Africans who basically, if white people come over to the continent, they abuse your women, they molest your children. You got a grown 6-year-old men dating little 14-year-old girls in Mombasa, Kenya, and all stuff like this and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? You guys go over, you guys let a Chinese, everybody else rape the continent, suck all the natural resources out here and everything. And then you come to America and talk about, I want a job. I want a job. You know what I'm saying? You want a job. I'm sorry, I can't live with that. If you basically don't think there's something wrong with that and everything, just admit that. Just admit and say, okay, I'm just here, like the girl said, we're just trying to survive. But don't put yourself on my level, because I look at the world, maybe because I am American and I basically I'm not in a state of desperation. Maybe Africans are desperate. If you're desperate, say you're desperate. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is this. I'm looking at the way that American company, the audacity America had to even suggest that they want to put a base in Ghana. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To the audacity to even ask that. You know what I'm saying? To the fact
it's already been done though.
The base.
Well, I'm just saying.
America don't know the base. Whenever you say put a base, that means you have the ability to land troops and occupy. You know what I'm saying? Now America might have some personnel here, this and anything, but a base is different.
I think even the personnel part. I mean,
for a person to see the personnel guys still. If you can have personnel, right?
No. Can African militaries have personnel here in America?
That's true too.
Yeah,
absolutely too. You're right about that. Yeah. But even personnel, that's even too far. But the thing is, with that fact that you're going to build a base, William Talbert said, he said, as long as he's headed the OAU, America and the West will never have a base on the country. That's why they wanted him gone. They wanted to build the West wanted to build a base in Africa, and he was the president of the OAU. He said, "No, you will never." He said, "Over my dead body, you have a base in Africa." You know what I'm saying? And that's why he was basically allied with Cuba in their war in Angola. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's why now you're starting to see why he had to go. You know what I'm saying? Why the True Whig Party, and you got the native Liberians who hate them so much. These people came over here and enslaved us and whatnot, have no idea. They basically have no idea why that country was targeted and the great things the True Whig Party did and everything. And what they had before they pulled this coup off. You know what I'm saying? They'll pause in a geopolitical game. Like I said, the main thing is infrastructure, right? Africans don't take infrastructure seriously, If the reason why you come over here is because you want jobs and infrastructure. If you built Africa, you would need to come over here. You know what I'm saying? You would be basically inviting us back. You should be the one saying, look what we got going on over here. We're building, cities are going up, Black American brothers, come home, let's build. You know what I'm saying? Right. But Africans basically see all the thing where the Lebanese control freaking Liberia right now.
The Lebanese are moving into Ghana right now. All these countries right here, the Lebanese have built their infrastructure, their trading infrastructure all over the region, everything. And the only thing the African wants to do is keep us out and talk to me about what I should be talking about. Yo, no, damn it, that's my damn homeland. That's my ancestral homeland. I don't give a damn who doesn't like it. What I say when I'm gonna keep talking about my homeland until it's redeemed. You know, you got all these Chinese people now. I put a video up here. The Chinese men are leaving mixed babies all over Ghana right now. Exactly what I said was going to happen.
Let me tell you what the issue is. Now, these so-called African feminists, so-called African non-feminine feminists, they'll talk shit about black men all day, but when it comes to what Chinese men are doing or white men are doing, they're quiet.
Of course, because they figure the Chinese man, the white man's going to leave them some pretty babies, some good hair. You know, it's sick. It's sick. You know?
Right.
And the bottom line, we got to stop playing games with these type of people. You know what I'm saying? Tell it like it is. We're a race of people that's sick. And we have to cure ourselves of this sickness. We're sick people. In no way in hell you would go to China and just do whatever you want in the woods to their women and whatnot and leave them there without any support. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're doing this all over Africa with no repercussions.
Right.
It just angers me, you know. And so, like I said, as far as infrastructure, right now, Africa has a net loss of like $100 billion a year because we don't own our own shipping lines. There's no shipping things that ship from Africa to America. So Africa exports nothing. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. What? Oil? No, you don't. Africa's not exporting the oil. Shell is coming over there. They set up shop in the middle of Nigeria. They're drilling the oil, right? They're giving the Nigerian government payoff, and they're taking that oil, and they dare you to shut them down. Right. Shell and BP. Same thing with Exxon. They'll give these governments a little payoff and everything like that. They give them the government a payoff and everything. But the bottom line is this: Africa is not exporting. That's how they change the game. That's not real export. Now, Russia actually exports oil because Russia drills the oil, it refines it into gasoline, and it has distribution around the world. Same thing. You know what country did this right before it went down? Venezuela.
Right.
You know, Venezuela got into the oil business. You know, what's that? Citgo. Citgo was Venezuelan startup. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Citgo. Yeah, Citgo was Venezuelan.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and so the same thing with Mexican company Valero. You have been on the East Coast. You've seen the Valero oil.
Yeah.
That's Mexican. Now tell me the same equivalent of a Nigerian oil company, so-called biggest oil producer. Where's a Nigerian retail thing? Refinery.
Only I guess African oil producer I really see in West Africa is out of Lib Oil. I think it's out of Libya. I think there's one out of Libya. It's called. Hold on, I gotta look it up real quick. But continue. I'll look it up real quick.
Angola has oil and everything like that, but that's a long way off to get into the oil industry. You may export oil, but when you get in the oil industry, you start drilling the oil yourself and everything. Do you know African Americans used to drill for oil in Texas and Oklahoma 100 years ago?
Didn't know that.
People are like, yeah, we used to have oil barons in Texas, and a friend of mine, passed away. His father had.
It's called Oil Libya.
Okay, Oil Libya, and I believe Libya basically went around and got into the oil business. They're building refineries, they're building retail gas truck distribution and logistics of the oil industry. It's all about logistics. Having infrastructure to give you logistics to handle anything you want. Out of that creates jobs, wealth, and opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That right there requires the Africans on the continent to get some balls behind them. It's like that because we need their help. You know what I'm saying? We need their help. I shouldn't even be having this conversation. The African spirit with the many African Americans living in America and North America and everything, Nigeria should have been dominating the oil thing. You should have had a Nigerian oil company with their own gas station, convenience stores, whatever, all over. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is what I mean by when I said earlier in the show about success. Immigrants to success. They take it to the next level. If the Mexicans could do Valero and the Venezuelans could do Citgo, the British got BP gas and everything like that, and all these other things. The Texas oil companies created Texaco, which they create a whole franchise of gas stations, convenience stores, and everything like that. Why can't the Nigerians go into oil to the oil business? You know what I'm saying? The oil and gas business. That's what I mean by infrastructure. And going forward, if we're going to build anything on the continent, we're going to have infrastructure. Because the bottom line is, I'm not going to wait 30 years for us to get together. You know what I'm saying? While I know we have the intelligence to build our own oil refinery. Now, Dangote is building the largest oil refinery in Lagos right now. And then get this. Now, did you see that thread where I put up Dangote? He said he would invest in Kenya, and then you got Nigerians on the thread talking about, oh, he's a crook and all this.
Yeah, a lot of Nigerians don't like the Gante, but you know.
What for? I asked him, what proof do you have that he's a crook? This is an honorable man. He's very soft.
Well, of course, the proof is, well, he's rich.
That's all the proof you need in Africa. If a person's rich, he's automatically a crook. That's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So I could be walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? If I look like I'm successful and everything like that, I got a target on my back. You know, he must. They don't understand how financing works. And this is what Nigeria's supposed to be so educated. They'll understand that he started out doing commodities. You know what I'm saying? But everybody importing, he started growing commodities around Nigeria, and he cornered the commodities market. And then you start getting into things like cement. He understood Nigeria was importing all this stuff, right? Right? Oh, he went to the government officials and said, "Look, put a tariff on cement," right? That gave his industry and they got loans from the government. And next thing you know, Dangote Cement is freaking producing cement and everything like that for cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Right. See, you can do that when you have a government, when you have a land, when you have infrastructure, when you have a nation. Dangote is a nationalist and a Pan-Africanist because he understands that Dangote only makes his money on the African continent.
I got to cut you off. Dangote is running commercials here in America now on CNN.
Oh, I see it on CNN.
Okay.
I see it on CNN. I've seen this commercial.
I don't know. Do you think? I think he has an initiative to build gas to do something here in America.
Like I said, I hope he does. You know what I'm saying? I hope he does. I'm all for him. Now, this is what I mean by a true Pan-African. I see a black man from Africa building something. I don't give it, even though African Americans may have some beef and everything, but I'll be the first one saying, brother Dangote, build that. That's what love comes in. That's where respect comes in. You know what I'm saying? That when you look at an honorable man and you do the honorable thing and say, look, it's our duties to support that brother. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That sense of duty that's been taught by us, by our ancestors, Marcus Garvey and all these people. Let's not discard our people. We had some good people in our community, that taught us right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? When you see a black man in a business, everything like that, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to support each other. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I told Nigerians, I said like this, when you come over here and everything like that, I said, don't be arrogant towards African Americans. I told them, I said, look, you want your business to see? Yeah, but I said, look, stop being arrogant with us and everything like that. African Americans will embrace you and love you. You know what I'm saying? If you be real with them. You know what I'm saying? Don't come over here talking down to us. You know what I'm saying? Our food's better than yours. Oh, we got bigger houses over here in Nigeria. And all stuff like that. It's arrogant stuff, and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? That they do. I said, if you be real with African Americans, you be real with us. You know what I'm saying? You open up a restaurant and everything, we'll pack your house. You know what I'm saying? And Jamaicans learned that generations ago when they came here. I got family from the islands. You know what I'm saying? I got family from the islands. You people from Barbados and everything come here. Most of the businesses in South Jamaica, Queens are owned by people from the islands. You know what I'm saying? And the bottom line is, hey, brother, Haiti, whatever. We're one people. We're brothers. We'll support. Nobody care about it. We're black people. You know what I'm saying? You're now part of Black America. You know what I'm saying? You're now part of Black America. Sister, I was listening to the other night. Oh, I was born here, but I'm Nigerian. You mean to tell me you haven't assimilated? I mean, what kind of life is that? You might as well just go back to Nigeria. You got no friends or whatever, nobody like that. I've never seen anything like that. I said, most people do have friends. You know what I'm saying? You never went down to like the Jamaican spot, whatever like that, or go to Brooklyn and you got Jamaican lounges and stuff like that and meet some friends and everything? No, because you're so arrogant. You're taught that you're better than. You know what I'm saying? And this idea that somebody's better than you, you're better than me. Why? Because you crawled off a boat.
Hey, real quick, Genesis. So people have pointed out two, I guess, oil companies coming out of Nigeria. One's Sahara Oil and one's Forge Oil.
I don't know. I haven't researched them yet. It could be something new. You know what I'm saying? Because like to be honest with you, the last time I really studied about Nigerian oil was like about 3 years ago.
Okay. In fact, let me back up for a second. So Fort Oil, I want to say, hold on one second. It's I guess owned by BP.
Oh yeah. That I have no doubt about that. BP is British Petroleum.
Right, exactly.
You
I'm
know?
reading it right now.
Yeah, British Petroleum. But the whole thing is that's not good enough. We have to have Nigerian.
So this is owned by BP.
Yeah. Now there's a Nigerian brother, right, from Houston, right, who was a major player. I forgot the name of the oil company, right?
I know exactly who you're talking about. I know you're talking about. I know.
Yeah. But I haven't got any more information on that. You know, he was he was partners with Exxon to build another oil company, whatever. He was out of Houston. I remember.
I think he's doing his own thing.
He's doing his own thing, but he considers himself African American. He's a Nigerian, but he lived here most of his life. You know, he's like, Black American. But the thing is, though, somebody like that needs to be. And then also, you got a lot of in the DC area. You got one Ethiopian brother that owns a lot of gas stations. You know, I think he buys his gas from maybe from the Middle Easterners. You know, or wait, I honestly, when you go to the oil refineries, the oil is refined in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a retail part of the oil, which once the oil is refined, right, the companies then again buy the oil, gasoline, and there's a gas business that goes along with it. You know, now
Right.
Some people take that gas business, right. If you're big enough, right, you could basically resell down the line to smaller gas stations and everything. You could buy in bulk, you know. But I don't think any black person is at that point where they're buying like in such a bulk where they can distribute. Yeah. Now there's a brother, African American brother from Ohio. I don't know if you heard this brother right here. This guy has built a network of oil transport since the 70s. You know, he said he started with his first oil truck. He got a used oil truck, right?
Right.
And he was transporting oil in the Midwest. So now he's big. Now this guy is big. But the thing is, these brothers, people like that should be front and center, page on our blogs as reference points. We have people. Now, like I said, I would imagine if he got together with Dangote and somebody else Nigerian, and we could probably be importing oil from Nigeria, refining it ourselves, or refining it. I doubt it we're refined. But the bottom line is, Dangote could be, or whoever, British Petroleum could sell us some oil, and we have a distribution, and we could put people in business. I don't know what will happen in America, but like I said, I'm just talking off the top of my head. But the bottom line is this: when you say African Americans are not doing anything, we do have people out there that's been doing this for decades. Just that nobody wants to know about this because you don't want to know. You assume because you come to America, everything's controlled by white people, and you don't even bother understanding we have African Americans who can distribute your product or distribute your goods or your service in America. You know, if you already have that attitude that we're no good, so it's just really a sad situation.
All right, what let's see. Somebody in the chat room says comparing accomplishments of every black group on the planet is a waste of time. There are way too many forces working against us all. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I agree with that. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to set the record straight because the narrative out there is that we don't care about the world. We don't care about infrastructure. We don't care about stuff like that. And the whole thing is no black people, we're not anywhere where we're supposed to be. If you can get on the same page with me with that, the fact of the matter is we produce no steel, but we consume steel. You know what I'm saying? That's Dangote is producing an oil refinery. That's going to close a gap in Nigeria, right? That's going to be more wealth. You know what I'm saying? We consume, think of all the things we consume, right? Every day, you consume electricity. Do you produce it? No, of course not. We're on that infrastructure. You understand? We consume milk, we consume gasoline, we consume paper, we consume electricity from our cell phones, cell
Right.
phone minutes. Everything's consumption. As soon as you open your eyes and squeeze your toothpaste, you're consuming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The system has it so that throughout your lifetime, you're just sucking like a sponge. You're sucking. You know what I'm saying? And that's what drives the economy. I wish I had my visual thing up here. I can show you illustration which I made. When you're sponging, you're sucking, you're consuming. The economy needs consumption. You know what I'm saying? It needs consumption. If you drive 35 miles a day, you're consuming mileage. You know what I'm saying? That drives the economy because the projections on that is you're gonna purchase gas. You know? Now if you basically drive 35 miles a day, let's say toward your job and everything, what if if a technology comes in and says, oh, now you can work from home? Well, geez, the people the gas industry is not going to be happy. Why?
Right.
Because they're going to lose that bit of mileage. And when you calculate that by millions of people, then you see where the numbers add up. You saying? Everybody produces, everybody consumes. You consume. Your consumption level is what keeps this system alive. The government taxes you. Every time you buy gas, you paying taxes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what was it, 15 cents a gallon?
Right.
You know, for gas. That's billions of dollars a day going into the government coffers. If you stop buying gas, that's the money the government's going to lose. You know, so therefore, by us being in America strategically, you know what I'm saying, we're for them is we have $1.2 trillion a year we generate, but out of that $1.2 trillion, less than 5% of that stays with us. Where does that go to? It goes to the things we consume, the goods and services we consume. Now that's the problem. Now, land infrastructure nationhood. The proposal for the BAO is, what if we had a state of our own?
Right.
What if we had a state of our own? Now, after I said all that, the observant student would say, you know something, Colin? If we had a state of our own and had infrastructure of our own, then we would benefit from all the consumption that goes on in that state. Bye, y'all. You see how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have that, you know, this is where we're at.
Hey, College, the people in the chat room are asking, can we have your curriculum? Like, but finish your statement, then I guess we'll get into that.
Okay. Okay. So therefore, what happens is when you have the consumption, that's how you build a nation state, by consumption. More people. Now, the less people you have coming here being vagabonds, dependency, and stuff like that, the more people you have that are producers, right? Because the producers could consume. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you another example. While we're talking about South Africa, let me give you another example. Talk about South Africa. South Africa has a lot of good universities, right? Good universities. But a few years ago, there was these white South Africans who were doing. They had all these requirements that you have to do these residencies in the rural area, Soweto, which nobody wants to do. You know, you got to give services, work at a clinic, and everything to pay your loan back for your thing. You get free college, right? They give you free education, but you got to donate so many times. You know what I'm saying? Hours, you know, maybe a year or so working in a poor area of Soweto or Cape Town, whatever like that. You know. And they interviews one white lady says, you know, while she was doing that, guess what she was doing, right? After she got an education from the state, wherever like that, the Canadian government, right, was actively going to South Africa, recruiting whites, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And offering them nice places in Canada, being around whites and everything. And the number of whites in South Africa living in Canada is exploding, you know? They're getting free skilled labor, profession. You know what I'm saying? Something that the government spends so much on education, right? Because they want to get something in return. You know what I'm saying? when that person decides to leave, right, the government loses. That's a net loss. That's what's happening in South Africa. A lot of white professionals are getting lured to places like Australia, to Europe, to New Zealand, and not so much the United States, but Canada. All these countries basically have always envied South Africa's wealth and everything. So they're luring a lot of white South Africans out of the continent, you know. And with Malema and all these other people, that number is going to increase. The black South Africans haven't figured out that you do got a lot of Nigerian doctors, nurses, and professionals from around the continent to fill in gaps. There's no mechanism in place to fill the gaps in with other Africans and everything because the black South Africans don't want them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do? I mean, they'll take some African Americans, but most African Americans are not going to go there and work for the level of pay. They'll come from the United States and work for the level of pay in South Africa. You know, it's not going to happen. So their best bet was to recruit people, do the same thing. Like, let me give you an example. The United States, you had Filipinos became the largest people contributing to America, filling the gap of American nursing industry.
Okay, let me stop you right there. You know, in LA, man, Filipinos control pretty much the dialysis.
Yeah. So right there, you understand what I'm talking about? Those medical clinics and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Filipinos dominate that. But the Filipinos were interviewed and said, "Look, I'd much rather be working in the Philippines where kids are dying because they can't have no nursing care."
Right.
I had this one girl; she was in tears, like, you know, I'm making good money here, but I send money back to. The whole thing is they come to the first world, send money back to the third world, but they would rather be in the third world earning money. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing. Hey, Don, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right.
Go ahead. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Hope you guys are gaining something from this if you're enjoying the show. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. And then healthy heavyweights. That's true. And then in places like KwaZulu-Natal or Durban, the taxi companies are all ran and owned by Indians. So yeah, so you know the brother Calajidis will be back shortly. But again, thank you guys for coming on. We'll be closing out here shortly as well when he does come back on. So thank you.
I'm back. Yeah,
okay,
I'm back.
all right, no problem.
All right. And so, like I said, this is what I'm saying. So we black people in America, it's hard for us because we live in a country with such a high standard of living, highest pretty much pay. You know, so it's hard to draw black people from America unless you talk about real wealth and opportunity. You know, wealth and opportunity. Don't go to Africa thinking you're going to get a job. You know
right. And you know, somebody got upset at me when I said that. I said we need to go to Africa creating jobs and with the entrepreneurial spirit. And he was upset. Oh, how dare you say that? You know, everybody doesn't have entrepreneurial spirit. You know.
Oh, then stay right here. Stay right here. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of flunkies in America. I'm not saying some people have a good with jobs and everything like that, good with working jobs and everything like that. But I'm telling you right now, opportunity in Africa is sharp as a tack. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The bottom line is if you go to Africa and you got a job and everything, and you go to Ghana where jobs are scarce. I mean, you go to a continent where, okay, you look at in America, you look at the one ad. Almost everybody's working a white collar job, whatever like that, blue collar job, and everything. When you go to Africa, less than 30% of people are in the formal economy. And the majority of people now it's up to, I give it to up to 50% are still informal. You know, informal economy, do what they want to do, street sweeper, hawking goods and everything like that, informal. You know. About 40% of the people are living earn a paycheck. You know, the modern way of life and everything like that. If you think you're gonna take from them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're sadly mistaken. And that's where I think that a lot of conflict comes in. Most people want to be in Africa, want to be seen as modern. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be. They don't want you to know that this majority of people living in shanty towns, you know, who don't have electricity, don't have education, don't have running water, don't have stuff like that. It's an embarrassment. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You know what I'm saying? It's this that you know it wasn't really their fault. You know what I'm saying? The legacy of colonialism. You know, you try to tell them that. They're like, no, 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 everything's just fine. No, okay, like I said, if everything is fine, then okay, everything is fine. We just have to accept it. Now let me ask you a question. Should we accept think Africa the way it is? And
No.
there's people, huh? You said no?
Should we accept it the way it is?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We should never be. We shouldn't be content. Period.
Yeah, right. That's you with me. Now some people will say that we are bringing our American values to Africa. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
know, I've been told that. They say if you see a white man with a little black girl on a white man's lap in Africa, look the other way. It's just the way it is here. We don't have the same values. A 14-year-old girl is considered a woman in this culture. You know, and you know, in our culture, you know, you sit there and touch on a 14-year-old girl, you know what happens to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what'll happen to you. So therefore, do we basically accept the fact that yes, there's kids out of school standing on the street corner begging? You know, I know you've seen that when you was over there. You know, standing on the
No,
street
no, no, no,
corner.
no, no. I will say this. I will say this. Let me. I gotta disagree with you on that one. I think the begging, as far as homelessness and begging, is worse here in America than it is Africa. I really didn't.
You think so?
I can honestly say I did not see a lot of begging like I did
Not
here.
begging, not so much as begging, but kids out of school. And I've seen this. You know, kids out of school hawking stuff, selling stuff, selling stuff. Because I
Okay,
remember I was
okay,
watching.
okay. I will agree with you as far as that. Usually here in America, no matter what, the kids usually during school hours, you won't see
Right,
a lot
kids,
of
kids.
stuff.
You
Yeah,
see
I
kids
will.
selling anything in America, the police are gonna get called and whatnot. What are you
Right,
doing? You know. Well, what I'm saying is, when you see African children, you know, they're not in school and they're out there selling ice. In Liberia, is water. It's we're selling water. You
right.
know, they're selling water.
Well,
So do we?
what the kids here in Atlanta sell water on the street too, but not during school hours.
Yeah. Well, Africa also it's water to make pocket money. You know, tobacco money. You know, it's not like you selling water because you got to get something to eat. You know, it's a difference. You know, I don't see anybody in America, kids in America, hawking water because they have no food. Because the bottom line, as soon as social service hears that, it's a wrap. You know, their parents, whoever, is going to jail, or the kids getting taken away in foster care. That's just the way it is.
Hmm.
You know, so but that's neither here nor there. But that's just one of the things you just have to accept when you I guess when you go to less developed countries, not just Africa, it's all over the world, you know?
Right.
It's all over the world. Rio is worse, you know what I'm saying? In Rio, they had a thing phenomenal years ago where they were actually killing kids. You know? They had people vigilantes, even in Philippines right now, it's going on in the Philippines right now. They're killing children. You know what I'm saying? They said these people come over here, foreigners, they make babies with these Filipino women and everything like that. And these kids are abandoned and running the streets. And that's why you said movie City of God.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The kids of Rio and something like that. That's what you have in these countries, you know? Foreigners come over here, make these children and everything. Then they become a nuisance, and you just want to kill them and gun them down because they're on the street corners and snatching purses. You got that in Cape Town, kids gang snatching people's purses and stuff like that. It happens in Rio. It happens in all these cities, snatching people's purses and stuff. And the Philippine presidents talk about it, just basically somebody selling drugs and everything like that, kill them. Like no due process of law. No, they just kill them. You know. And so therefore, like I said, you have these countries, and and uh and it's just the way it is. The problem is these countries have not developed, and when they're not developed, that's exactly the situation you have, and you blame the children because the generation before didn't plan for them. You know, they take it out on the children, want to kill the children because you didn't create a world for them which they could be the best they could be and grow and prosper and thrive. You know, and the only way that basically happens is when you are basically committed to nationalism. Nationalism is the answer. You know, nationalism means we are one. We I'll forsake everything else, become one. You know what I'm saying? I'll meet you halfway. Listen to this very carefully. I'll meet you halfway. And when a nationalist happens, when you're a nationalist, you realize that I'm not going to get 100% of what I want, right? But sort of that fact that everybody can be a people and we can be a people, I may get 70%. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I may get 70%. You know, and the people that's coming up, you know what I'm saying? I may not reach all the way up here. If I can get to right here, we can meet somewhere in the middle. You know what I'm saying? We'll be one people. What you have is people right now who have ideologies. We've been taught all the time for the last, this is what I want to allude to.
Okay.
What I want to allude to is this idea of globalism. This idea that there's no such thing. Nationalism is what makes people go out to work every day. Remember I was talking about Pittsburgh and all these places right here?
Right.
What made these people do that? You know what I'm saying? Sacrifice generation of West Belt. It was nationalism. They believed in America, American ingenuity, American steel, American industry. You know what I'm saying? They realized that not everybody not everybody can have an office job, but somebody needs to run these steel mills, you know? You don't have that in Nigeria right now. You know what I'm saying? That's why that steel plant is not opened up. Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna go there? The steel workers. The Nigerians got let's say the African, the Yoruba god of war is Ogun, right? Can you imagine if Ogun, the spirit of Ogun, was summoned to build the steel mills and the iron works and everything like that? Imagine the spirit that would create of the Africans to build their own steel mills and everything like that. It's spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But we don't have those spirit, the spirit, Why? Because the African, the black man all over the world wants the easy way out. There's no, you and I talking right here, the conversation we're having, the conversation I had with my friends this afternoon overseas is gonna set the course for the next generation. That's what we're doing this for. You know what I'm saying? If we don't do this now and everything like that and stop playing games and do this now or not, we're finished as a race. Then God has no use for us. God didn't put the black man on this earth to hate himself and let himself disappear. Like Marcus Garvey said, he'll say, I want a man, I'm a man, and I want a man's chance in this world. This idea of integration was a freaking farce. We should have been on the African continent decades ago, building. And so the Garvey movie came. No, the Garvey movie was always here. It never went to any place. The history, you look at the encyclopedia, they give Marcus Garvey one little tiny paragraph, and they give the NAACP, a useless organization, 10 pages.
Right.
That's because somebody else is controlling our narrative. When people listen to these shows and you get comments like, "Why are you concerned about Africa?" It's because you don't know our narrative. We've always been interested in Africa since day one. This is nothing new. There's always been nationalists like myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now we do what we have to do. Now there's another thing I want to talk about. I'm glad it came on mind because I always want to say this on the radio. I always tell me if you be honest with me. Tell me if you agree with this.
Go ahead.
People in super chat, tell me what you agree. The inner city is not our homelands.
No, of course not.
We have no real obligation to the inner cities, you know what I'm saying, of America. They're not our homelands. More and more black people are moving out of them. You know what I'm saying? Those of us who live in the suburbs here, if you want to call them that, we want a real homeland to go to. And that homeland is going to be on the African. Well, what about that? We don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? The inner cities are being regentrified. There's nothing we can do about it. Since we can't do nothing about it, there's something we can do about it. We want an African state. Because we're withdrawing from America. You know So by saying we're going to rebuild the inner cities, that's letting America off the hook. That's saying there was never any crime with the transatlantic slave trade. We had our good times in Harlem and everything, but it's time to close the books. It's time to move on. No, Harlem's not going to come back. Detroit's not going to come back. Chicago's not going to come back. We need a homeland, a nation state of our own. We need land, infrastructure, and nationhood, LIN, to produce an African nation, to produce a civilization going forward. That's the whole thing. If you want a homeland and everything like that, it ain't going to be. I hate when the people tell you, oh, look, they got dollar billings in the Washington D.C. We need to buy this up. I'm smacking my head like, buy up Baltimore. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm saying to myself, I don't even comment anymore. Because like, oh, well, you. No, fool. You know what I'm saying? You will never rebuild these cities. You know what I'm saying? They let them die for a reason. You know what I'm saying? We came up north. We produced a generation. Hopefully, we learned something. We're the largest urbanized black population in the world. You know, fully urbanized. You know, in the world, we had a culture of urbanization. We had a literate culture of urbanization. You know what I'm saying? We could take us any place and build anything. You know what I'm saying? We understand. We have certain expectations. We know how cities are supposed to be run. We know what police is supposed to do. We know all these things and everything like that. All we need is a place to practice our culture and civilization. Any questions, brother, in the chat?
No, I mean, that's I mean, let's see if we got any statements. I mean, everybody's just for the most part, brothers are just agreeing with you. Again, there's always
where's all our opposition people?
There's some people that, like, the people who are giving you any type of opposition, they're agreeing with you now.
Oh,
so
okay.
the opposition, I said gave you those statements, shared those statements that they made in the chat, but now they're agreeing with you. I mean, how can with what you just said? How can you disagree?
Yeah, and let me repeat that again.
Go ahead.
The cities of America that you're living, and James Brown, living in America.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, it would say what you want to say. So go ahead and say it.
That's what Apollo got his ass killed.
Yeah. Come on, just say it. You want to say something slick. You guys say it, right? Because most people, when we talk about that scene, everybody shuts up. Everyone wants to say nothing. Apollo, Jay living around. Yeah.
Apollo got his ass killed.
If
he dies, he dies.
Yeah, living in America. Well, anyway, the whole thing is this. Take the good. We have memories. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We have good memories. You know what I'm saying? And we have bad memories. You know what I'm saying? But that's what life is all about. You take the good and the bad, and going forward, right? Going forward, you know exactly what you want for the future. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Black America, these cities in America are never going to come back. You yearn for a homeland. You learn for a land of your own. You learn to be around your people, even when you're living in the suburbs and everything. There's something in you that want to be around your own kind, that want to build with your own kind. It's in you. It's natural. Let's do what the Jews did, who copied off us in the first place, right?
That's the next video.
Yeah, it was the Jews in Israel. Mm-hmm. In Liberia, Jews, what I wouldn't call a ripoff, because Edward Wilmot Blyden and Theodore Herzl were friends. They were actually friends. But he took the idea from Edward Wilmot Blyden and built the Jewish homeland, a state, in Palestine. The original Jewish homeland was supposed to be in Uganda. People don't even know that. Yeah,
that's another video. That's another video. That's another video. But go ahead.
So the whole thing is we need a state. We need a state of our own. A well-defined state. Liberia. The mistake was that large numbers of us didn't go there, and they end up having to assimilate try to civilize, and assimilate the indigenous population. In 35 years of that, the whole country went to hell. You know, we need a frontier. We are doing that, and like I said, I'm not going to give any details. But next month you're gonna hear a big announcement. You know, next month you're gonna hear a big announcement. Okay. What we need to do is this. All you need to know is this. So how can I get down? Somebody asked about the curriculum. Get your education. Get your skills. Everybody who's a nationalist should be in college right now. Should be getting their skills and getting in where they fit in. Well, I don't know. Look, just get something. You know, just pick a course and master it. You know, you're gonna need, when you talk about nation, you're gonna need everything. You know what I'm saying? And then some. So bottom line is this. By the way, when we get organized, you have the nation state, then you can send out okay, we need this many of these things studying this. We need to graduate this way. We can make projections and benchmarks and analysis, you know what I'm saying? And metrics, you know what I'm saying? Use metrics to say, okay, we need about this many people studying this. We have this many, and then a lot of things, like when you talk about technology keeps evolving and changing.
Right.
So you can go study for something that you don't need anymore. You know, that's the system we live in. So you got to basically always be bending and flexible and like just keep learning. Understand that when we talk about the average thing, you're like that Jewish boy who defends the state of Israel. You know, the average thing is going to be your homeland, your holy land. That's where you're going to basically go. Or we're going to have it so that you go on your 13th birthday and your 15th birthday, whatever, and basically make communion. That's when you go over there. You get rites and communion and everything. You come back when you come back to the United States. You're like, wow, I've been to the Holy Land. I've been to the Motherland. I've been to the Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
This is going to unify us. This is what purpose. Building this land, connecting with Africa, building trade, and all the policies that go along with it on an international scale. We're going to become a new people. You know, let these fools keep going on MSNBC, CNN, and all this kind of nonsense. We don't care about the civil rights people anymore. That's done. They've done. They had 50 years to convince us that we're doing the right thing in America, and they failed.
Absolutely, brother.
Yep.
What we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out.
Right.
Let me go ahead and give everybody the your contact information, and I'll go ahead and post the link to the BAIO in the comment section, and any other closing statements you want to make.
Okay, yeah, okay. My novel, please get my novel on Amazon. You can even get the Kindle version. I don't care. Get the Kindle version later if you want to order the paperback. Fine. It's called Journey to the Promised Land: Voyage of the Bark Azor. It's an intriguing book and whatnot. You'll enjoy the characters, the colorful characters. It's about the exodus of 1878 from Charleston, South Carolina to Liberia, to Sierra Leone, then Liberia, by voyages of the ship called the Bark Azor. Bark means sail, and the Azor is the name of the ship. They purchased a ship. The Liberia Exodus Association was supposed to be one of hundreds of maiden. It was a maiden voyage. It was supposed to be one of hundreds of ships that was supposed to sail from the United States carrying black people to Liberia, to the Congo, and beyond. You know, that's what was supposed to happen after slavery. In 1878, our leaders got together and said we had enough. We had enough of American democracy. We had enough of white supremacy. It's time to get our people out of this country. You know what I'm saying? They covered that history out. But 40 years later, the Liberia Exodus Association, even though it went bankrupt, the spirit of the Exodus Association was rebirthed when Marcus Garvey came here, you know? And this is why his movement was so big. The success of the voyage of 1878 was legendary, you know? Men became prominent Liberian citizens and everything like that. So the bottom line is read this book and everything like that. You understand why the Garvey movement appeared in the 1920s. It was a building block to the Garvey movement in the 1920s. Get me on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? College Genesis. Get me on Facebook, College Genesis. You can get me my Ning site. Join our Ning site. You know, get to know us, right? We have different groups in the Ning site. We have science groups. We have governance groups. We have land development groups. We have infrastructure groups. We have historical groups. We have the Column Nation group in there. We have Team Africa in there. We have a Nation of Islam group in there. And you can create your own group in your own blog, you know. join us. Where take initiative, learn about nationalism, learn about what we want to do. It's www.baioafricstan5.ning.com. You can join us and get to know my brothers, Mr. Holicism Haven, Minister Daoud, my brother Emil Sestak, and all the brothers of the Black African Infrastructure. We're non-judgmental. We don't ask for anything other than just support and basically just building and camaraderie. And like I said, we're modern. We believe in. This is very careful. Listen to this very careful.
Go ahead.
Like Bounce TV, TV our way. We believe in. We want an Africa our way. We know what you want. You know what I'm saying? We know what you want. We know as what African Americans want. We know what you need. We know what you want as far as an African nation is concerned and stuff like that. And we're working to make that happen with several African governments to make that happen high level. And so the bottom line is we just need the support and people coming out and joining us when we start having public meetings and stuff like that. This is not going away. And this show, Dynast Amir, Search for Haruru, Professor Davis, man, I am telling you right now, this is exactly what we need. Real talk. We don't shy away from anything and everything. Tell it like it is, because now time you see what the niceties have gotten us. No place. We tell it like it is. Why? Because we love Africa, we love our people, and we want change. You know what I'm saying? Change is not gonna happen being candy coating anything. Just tell it like it is. Be blunt. We can hug and shake, and make up afterwards, but we have to be honest about ourselves. No preconceptions. But that's what I want to say. Thanks, Dynast, for having me.
Man, anytime, brother. Anytime. You always have an open invitation, man. Whenever you want to come on, shoot, let's do it. I mean, I appreciate brothers like you and Professor Davis and everybody else who's contributed for taking time out of their schedules and coming on to the show, man.
No problem. I really thank you for having me.
Hopefully
we can solve that echo thing,
But I guess we solved it. Whatever setup you have right now, unless you
I'm on my cell phone.
No, well, this is perfect. We just got to figure out how we could
But wait a minute. No, the last show. The other show I did with the my computer. Thing, it wasn't no echo.
But usually people don't say anything until we bring it up because, like I said, it always sounds fun. It sounds perfect to me. It's just
right. I want to make sure it sounds good when it was a playback.
Right.
Like I said, because in my phone, you know something? Oh, you know something? Oh my God. You know something? I think I had two headphones in. That could have been it. Oh my God. That could have been it. I could have had two headphones in. And and I had the two computers running. And that could have been. I don't know what happened, but I just hope nobody's trying to sabotage us. Leave us alone.
Yeah, leave us alone.
Leave us alone, man. Leave us alone. All right, brother Dynast. I'll talk to you later.
All right, peace. All right, everybody. Brother. Thank you for joining us again. I'll be back on tomorrow with a couple shows. Make sure you go to Search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Go to AfricaPersonified.Africa. Also go to the Patreon site as well. Please go to searchforhuru.com. Go to Amazon.com. Search your name, Dynast Amir. Please buy a book. Everybody, once again, thank you for joining us. Till next time. Peace.